Those of you keen eager beavers watching this evening for GNR on the 28th of July. Right, so starting off, apologies.
Good evening, members. I have apologies from Councillors Wright and Jacobs.
Wonderful. Not sure who else should be here. Right, interests. To be declared as and when, I think. Later on, right. Okay, minutes. I presume we've all perused the minutes. Does anybody have anything to say about those minutes? Okay, so I'm happy to propose the minutes if someone can second. Councillor Slade is going to second. All those in favour of the minutes? Wonderful, thank you. Matters arising from that. It's got on here from under item 3 for information only. Do we have anything? We haven't got anything matters arising, have we? No. Has anybody else got anything matters arising from the minutes? Marvellous. Open session for electors. We have an empty gallery in front of us. Have we got any written? Nothing. Nothing at all. We're whipping through this. Go us. Okay. So what I want to propose then. Sorry, was that? Right. Yeah, can I propose then that we move agenda items 21 and 23 up the agenda, please? So Will can go through those and then go home early.
And 20.
Oh, and 20. Yeah. Sorry, yes, and 20. 20, 21 and 23. Yeah, all in favour? Wonderful, thank you. So, item 20, domain retention report. Will.
Thank you, Chair. So, as you can see in the report, we are looking at discontinuing some of the domains that we currently own. We could make a saving, but it's difficult to say exactly what that saving is because the value of these changes over time. So it's a little difficult to pin that down. But there's a list there of all the ones that we'd like to keep and the ones that we'd like to cancel, and that's been agreed by the town clerk along with the TIC and. So just looking to get your approval to discontinue the ones that we don't want anymore.
There was only one which you were going to get rid of, which I thought, or maybe not, which was Newquay TIC. But I don't think people would search for NQY, would they? They'd put Newquay in as full. So I've got no issues with that. Has anybody got any?
I would keep Concrete Waves Cafe because it's not ours.
The feeling is, in the future we may have one, and so some of this is about protecting, because as soon as they're gone, and someone could buy them up and then they'll sell them to us later. So that was the only thinking. But again, equally, we're not too precious.
Just to see, just on that point, there's none of these domain names that anyone would be interested in purchasing off us, presumably, like cornwalltourism.co.uk or cornwalltourism.org or tourismcornwall.org or cornwalltourism.com, in fact. It's just not worth the aggro.
I mean, there may be some value there, and I'm not sure about the process to actually put them up, sort of advertise them for sale, but I think we are notified if someone contacts the website and requests to buy it, but I don't know how you would sort of push that in the public space.
I don't know.
There is a website called cdo.com, and that's where you can buy and sell web domains. I think people would have contacted us by now if they're interested. They normally go to the registrar and see who's registered them. So if they're not being used, it'll say it's hosted by a certain company, and then they go direct to them and inquire. So I think people are moving away from like having hyphens and dashes and things like that. If
Yeah.
it was a really snappy like cornwall.co.uk, for example, that would be right up there
Yeah.
for someone wanting it. But
Yeah.
these ones are a bit long with like email addresses and things, that's all. So the thinking was there's probably not too much value to them.
Okay, so I'm happy to, if nobody's got anything else, I'm happy to propose that that's okay. Seconder, Drew, all in favour? Yep, wonderful. Thank you. Then item 21, data protection audit. Will?
Thank you, Chair. So, since my arrival here, I've become acutely aware of our our position in terms of data governance and compliance with GDPR. In terms of our policies, we are sort of lagging behind there, and we need to get up to a state of compliance really, and just have a clean slate where we can then maintain it from there. So we're proposing that we bring in some professional help to get ourselves up to a state of compliance, and then the in-house team can manage it from there. So we've got our data protection training provider, which is Breakthrough Communications, and they've provided us with a quote for the project, and we've sort of gone out and compared that with some other quotes, and they've come out looking like really good value. So, so yeah, we just want to go ahead with that, and right. Yeah, so yeah, looking to get ourselves up to a state of compliance, largely because it will allow us to do things like Cyber Essentials and the CAF certification as well, and get us ready for the new Assertion 10 AGAR regulations for the 2026 financial year. So, yeah, sometime in the before the new financial year, we'd like to get this all sort of put to bed.
Well, I think that sounds a splendidly good idea, and I'm fully in support of that. Has anybody got any techno questions that they want to interrogate Will on that one aspect? No, I think.
Really questions. What did you just say?
Yeah. It's like- just go, yes, Will.
Well, just to explain a little bit more detail, so they'll basically perform a gap analysis to work out how far away, how big the gap is from where we are to where we need to be, and then they'll help us to develop those policies, starting with a data map, where you map how you manage personal data, and so they'll sit down with each department, talk to the managers, and basically work out exactly how we process email addresses and contact details and things like that, and then develop the policies around that accordingly.
Fantastic. Right, I'm going to quickly propose that we accept that. Is there a seconder for that? Yes, Margaret's going to second. All in favour? Wonderful. Thanks, Will. Awesome. And then 23, the website. And yes, and this quick scuttling out by our...
Oh, are these the people that you consulted for?
One of the tenders I know. So.
Oh, okay.
Will, website update, please.
Thank you, Chair. So obviously we came to you, I think it was the last GNR, and asked for £10,000 to go and get a new website developed, and we spoke about trying to include in that an integrated customer relations module and an AI chatbot. What we discovered through the process is that the AI chatbot and CRM were probably a little bit unrealistic for that level of budget. So we're probably going to need some extra budget if we want to go and get a CRM and AI chatbot. I'm speaking to a company tomorrow about AI chatbots, but I was going to suggest that we don't need to approve that extra budget now. We can wait until the next GNR, because we hope to get some more directors in who might have a say on what CRMs they prefer and what might be best suited for us. They might have experience with that kind of thing. So we want to try and use their expertise. And also in the meantime, the in-house IT team has been working on some different databases and some automation around that, which could eventually do the same job as a CRM, but using just in-house databases that we've created. So we'll carry on that work and see how far we get with it. but it may be that in 3 months' time we need a bit of extra budget to go on with the CRM. The other thing is that the website budget is a one-off cost, but the CRMs tend to be an ongoing cost, so the yearly thing. So it was not very realistic to sort of bundle that all up into one thing. But what we have done is we've found a really good website provider, and we think we've got really good value for money. Getting a new website for less than £10,000 is a pretty big achievement, really.
Brilliant. That sounds like a lot of hard work's gone into that, so well done, thank you. Has anybody got any questions about that? I think with all these things, when you start looking at it, you have sort of an idea in your head, and then you go, oh, and maybe in the future, and we'll work towards that, and that's completely fine. I'm happy with that. Drew, you got any questions? No? No, we're okay. So I'm happy to propose that we go on that, and then come back to us when you're looking for that. Oh.
So I have forgotten one thing. So the website provider that we've gone with, they do require a 30% upfront payment. So I just needed to get committee's approval to
so
make
I can put them together. Yes, I have got that written on here. It's actually in my notes. So yes, we can propose that at the same time.
Is that just a suspension of financial regulations?
Yeah, we are okay with the company that it's not going to take the deposit and go bust next week.
Yeah, we do all the relevant checks. And we'll
Okay.
do that before we release the payment.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'm happy to propose both the designing of the new website and the company involved, and with the paying of the 30% deposit on that. I have a seconder for that. Councillor North's going to second that. All in favour? Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you, Will. You can always stay for the meeting if you want to, Will. You could just sit in the gallery, bit of knitting. Yeah. That's fine. So we need Andy back in the room. He thought he was going to get a whole cup of tea in. All for him.
Thanks, Will. See you later.
Thanks, Will.
Right, so do we need to vote to go back on the agenda? Can't remember. No, we don't. No, so going back up to number 6. Objective B, to support local suppliers. So the following group of agenda items are sort of things that we're working towards reaching in the near future, but Andy, I think, is just going to go through with those. Andy?
Yes, so most of these objectives are the new objectives in the corporate plan. The KPI work that was done has identified when we should achieve some, if not all of them. And so the standing response really for a lot of these are subject to the staff review being completed. It will then be led on. So this one in particular is support local suppliers. That's a review of our procurement policy. That will be done post staff review by the Chief Finance Officer. And likewise, promote skilled careers. We do promote careers, but after the staff review, we will go out and make sure that our recruitment policy has been updated and has the necessary information in there now to meet that objective. So I've made sure that we've not missed the objectives by putting them all on the agenda, but you haven't got to necessarily do anything with them right now at this meeting.
Clear brand identity.
Yes, so
Because
item
there's
19.
brands.
Yeah.
Sorry. Objective item 10 then was objective COA, optimise local assets, and again that will be focused on after the staff review. 10A then was establishing devolution opportunities to negotiate outcomes with Cornwall Council. which is ongoing, isn't it? But with we've got the land at Trambeth Crescent, Newquay. So we're just going to sort of quickly discuss that one. Trembath. So the site's under offer from Cornwall Council for devolution, but it wasn't on our original list of land to have. So are you able to put the satellite image up as to show you where it is? So my personal preference would be that we do go for it, because when it goes up there, otherwise it would be a property developer and they'll stick 5 houses on it. Do you want to zoom out a bit so we can see where that's it? So probably zoom out a little bit more, and then you'll see the that's it. So there's the Gannell Road. You see the yellow line going up there? I haven't got my planning pointer. Oh no.
You go off China and down Trembath.
So I mean, looking at that is a useful little piece of green space for those local residents. You know what?
Sorry,
What,
a useful little bit of green space.
well, no, for them. I mean.
I think we might have a difference of opinion on this one. Sorry, carry on.
Well, I thought it was because I mean there isn't another green space around, and the adjoining residents have quite small gardens. I mean, this is a very blank canvas. I was eyeing it up for some tree planting myself with some benches in there. But as I said, that is my personal opinion, and I'm opening the floor up for other opinions, Councillor Creek.
So I suppose when I think about devolution, we set the objective that we wouldn't take on anything that wasn't going to add value, I think, either in terms of actual money or in terms of community value. I'm not sure I see the community value in this. And I worry that it's a distraction from the proper devolution stuff that we want to do. And I suppose, if I'm honest, all I can see is an area of land that will ultimately mean that the town council gets more complaints about why is the grass not cut, why is it not being maintained, why is there litter there, why is there dog fowl there, you know? And it's, I suppose that's my, you know, I'm not sure I see the benefit, but open to other opinions.
Open to other opinions, people.
It's a first, isn't it?
So I suppose I see what you see, that not about the trees, but you know, we could
Yeah.
have that devolved, and we could eventually put some houses on it as a town council. So it'd be an asset in that.
We could, yes. There's
It'd be an
that
asset
alternative as well.
in that way. So that would be my thoughts. Happy for trees, you know, short term.
I
and
mean,
then-
looking at that and the terrace houses to its right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'd probably get 6 houses on that.
Yeah. And we
And
probably
that's-
could do them as, you know, I don't know, social, you know, houses for real people.
Yes. Councillor Slade.
Thank you. How much is this going to cost us, just to acquire the land?
So I think at the moment Cornwall Council is saying, are we interested? And then the next step is understanding how much we would want to pay. Normally we say it's £1, we take on the maintenance and the insurance liabilities. The difference is Cornwall Council does this step first. If we're not interested, it's likely it will just go straight to auction.
Yeah.
Well, on the tree planting side of things, we could use this to do some habitat creation while we're waiting for the houses, so that we can bump up our biodiversity.
Yeah, I mean, it could sit there. It doesn't have to be tree planting. It could be
Well, I
something
like
more
trees too.
temporary. Could make it whatever. Yeah. I mean, we could do, and sit on the value of it and the property. It will need checking that it hasn't got a designated use before that in terms of that it has to be an open space.
And if there's any crucial services running underneath it. But personally, I'm quite interested in like taking it forward and saying that we're interested, subject to, as long as it's appealing.
Okay.
If it, like you say, if it's got restrictions that it has to be open space, it's got hideous gas mains and sewers going through it, then that's what I would like.
Okay, and Councillor Carter.
I'm inclined to agree. I wouldn't like it to go to a developer for development. I mean, if we could develop it maybe yes, but I wouldn't like it in the hands of another developer and finish up with blocks of flats or, something that's against what we want to see in the area.
Okay, so I think, Councillor Slade, do you want to put a proposal forward?
Yeah, so I propose we show a interest to Cornwall Council and that we would look forward to hearing how much and if there's any restrictions on it.
Okay. Seconder for that? Yeah, Councillor North, I think just beat you. All those in favour?
It's got no access.
Oh, yes, it has. It's got a road to the. That's a cul-de-sac road down to it. Here.
They can walk away that.
Yeah, and it's
But
got
there's-
access
yeah, but
here.
there's like car park there. How are you going to get access to the thing?
Well, if you have a road coming down here, it could be access to
but look.
one property. Yeah, but they've parked there because it's a dead end.
And there's no access from the other side.
Yes, there is.
There is.
I just didn't look like watch.
Okay.
We're just showing interest and we could check all
Yeah,
that
we can
stuff.
check all that out.
That's part of our...
We can
Where's the access?
Well, you're not looking the right way. What?
That's it there.
Where's the light? Oh, I don't think you are.
There you are.
Right.
I'll vote against. I'm feeling grumpy.
Yes.
I'll vote against. Why not?
Should have brought the biscuit, shouldn't I? More for me on
Don't
that
let anyone
one.
say we whip our votes. That's what I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Moving on. Oh dear. Right, okay, where have we got to? Right, 10B.
Can I ask, did
oh.
we vote on all those clear brandings and the optimised?
We did, they were just notifications, we didn't need to vote on those. That's okay. Right, item 10B, devolution working party. So it was creation of a devolution working party, and any members who might be interested in becoming part of that working party to show an interest. Oh, really? Yes? Yes?
I was on the previous thing. Probably shouldn't be on it now.
Shouldn't you be on it?
Given that I gave the previous Cornwall councillors a lot of grief for being on the devolution working party previously, I should probably not be on it this time round, right?
That's your view. There's no law stopping you. But if you have a view like, yeah, that's it.
If you want to become a counter voice, maybe on the work, we very much welcome you on that, Councillor Creek.
That's a classic example of recent employment.
Yeah.
Sure, put me on it, that's fine.
It depends if you've had biscuits or not, I think. So yes, I'd quite like to be that. And Councillor Carter and not Councillor Slade. Yeah. But if you put an email out for the rest of the committee, or do we not want more than? Oh, 4 no's like, well then, okay, there we go then. Oh, vote on that. So I'm proposing that. Seconder, Councillor North, I think might be seconding, and yeah, we're all there. Oh, Laura nearly destroyed her laptop with the bottle of water then, in her excitement. Okay, item 11, objective, right, review estate efficiency. So this will, it's another one of these objectives which will come about when we've got the directors in post. So,
Just do all of those. Are they all the same? So just do them
Yeah.
one block and just move
well, I
on.
was just, okay.
No, I'm doing fine.
Oh, let us speak.
Sorry.
Chair.
Apologies. They've grumpy tonight, aren't they?
You know you wanted that lift home.
Yeah, so. Fine, I'll walk.
You'll see how long it takes. Right. Agenda 12 then. No, 11. Right. Review state of efficiency director's role. 12 then. Seek grant funding is ongoing because we have an officer doing that. We have no 12A. We have no pending grant applications that need to be overseen by us. And 12B, we've gone none pending there either. So, item 13, explore community involvement is ongoing, but if you want to say anything more about that, Andy?
The projects and partnerships officer will pick that up once recruited.
Right, okay. And recognising strategic and operational roles, that's ongoing as well. Yes.
Yeah, so on that one, I'm going to start redrafting the scheme of delegation. Now that we're getting quite advanced through the staff review, it's clear now where the directors are and some of the management structure, and so we'll start putting in what they can and can't do to make sure members have the strategic oversight and policy making, and the officers are then operationalising that.
Brilliant, thank you. Building a culture of respect, that's sort of ongoing, I think, as well, isn't it? And focus on communities ongoing because it's what we do all the time. Then agenda 17, developing the youth hub. So that's progressing, but has been delayed. And I think Councillor Creek's been badgering them about that, Cornwall Council, as to what's going on there. So that's a case of wait and see, I think, at the moment. Because we were meant to be getting it in the autumn, the youth centre, because we have. So what I proposed to do was look for a letter to come from us, requesting an update as to their timetable, as to what they think, because we have been applying, Kieran's been applying for funding for projects at the youth centre, and I'm concerned as well that if they're not maintaining the building, then maintenance issues could be then beginning to pile up and accrue for when we do take it over. So I'm going to propose for a letter to come from Newquay Town Council asking Cornwall Council as to what's going on with the youth centre. So if I could have a seconder for that, seconded by Councillor Creek, all in favour? Wonderful, thank you. Right, item 18, budget planning and setting. Did you do a handout for this? And you got it on there. So I requested this for newbies. So for Councillor Carter's sort of. Do you want to quickly go through then?
So effectively, what we're suggesting is that we follow last year's budget setting process. So it goes to all the officers first. We come up with some suggested numbers that go to committees. That process happens September, October. Can drift into November if there's some issues with that. So normally committees would look at them, go away, come back with some feedback and numbers. It comes to this committee, and if this committee says actually some of these numbers either don't add up or there's some problems with them, it goes back to that committee for another review, then back to GNR for a final review, which is normally around about November. So these are last year's dates, but it will be November's meeting. Gets looked at again with myself and the RFO, make sure that everything is captured. We also get the base rate information from Cornwall Council at the end of November, beginning of December, which can complicate things depending on when that comes in. And then it'd be earmarked for a December full council budget meeting. Sometimes we've drifted into January where we've needed to, but the aim would be to try and set this in the December meeting. So if there's no objections, we'd like to try and follow that timeline again.
Is that okay, Councillor Carter? Do you? Yeah, because I'll put that there for you because we're doing it the same as last year. Brilliant. Okay. Has anybody got any questions on Councillor Creek?
So I liked the process last year. I did feel that there was quite a bit of bouncing back and forward, but I think what it does is it gives every councillor at least 2 or 3 opportunities to engage with the budget process. And if they had any problems, then they've got plenty of time to raise those. And if they miss a meeting, they don't lose their chance, because I know that we got lots of noise the previous year about people purporting not to have had an opportunity to feed in, which clearly I felt wasn't the case. But I think this feels like a long-winded way of doing it, but it gives everyone lots of opportunity to feed in.
Oh, not that was on.
Fully visible of this process.
Yeah. Wonderful, thank you. 18B, budget monitoring report quarterly. Over to Anne.
Yes, so this has been. So this is a report for April. Sorry, we're a little bit behind, and hopefully we will get them updated to you and sent out via email. This is April's report, so it's fairly out of date already, but it's just the GNR committee for you to look at. What I'm hoping to do going forward, because Levi's taking on this work and moving them forward, is to give you an overview not only of your committee but your EMRs, and also to have an overall complete budget for the whole of the council, which you've not had before, so that you can see where we are in terms of that. So that's where I'm going next step with this, once I've Levi's got more up to date on where we are. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So no doubt everyone's perused the spreadsheet. Have you? Hopefully everyone perused. What's wrong with the word perused, Councillor? Okay. Yeah. With a mug of tea, bit of knitting. Yeah. Has anybody got any questions or anything that they've seen that issues with April's budgets or anything? No. No. Thank you, Anne, for and Levi, for the hard work you put in for this. It's very comprehensive and well done. So I'm quite happy to propose accepting this. Seconder. Oh, Councillor Carter, I think. All in favour? Wonderful. Thank you. And then, I'll rip it off. Right, 18BI, end of year comparisons report. Again, Anne, over to you.
Yes, so this is a report. This again is the first time that I've given anything to committee like this. I wanted to do an end of year one so you can compare the last few years, so you can see. I'm hopeful that again, once we get some additional staff from the staffing structure, more things like this will come to each committee, so ENF and things, because I think there's a lot of information that we hold that could really help decision-making process and in looking at individual assets. So it was just for your information really, but it was so that you have some information available at your fingertips. So
I thought this was quite interesting, the differences in the years, and the difference, for instance, for Porth toilet with electricity usage is nuts. So in 2022-23 it was £580.31. 23-24 is 8,488. Now, sort of like looking at the electricity costs for most of these things, like the council offices, then 23-24, and I'm guessing it's to do with how cold the winter is, as to how much heating there is.
That's got to be the knowledge, surely.
there's another instance with this, and I think I put a note on it to say I changed the way that it was accounted for from when I started to not. So it used to just be whatever the recurring bills were, and I moved it to actuals. So there was quite a big year where everything
Okay.
fluctuated to get it back in line, because it should be actuals.
Yeah, Councillor Prue.
Thank you. And this is a brilliant report, and goes to Margaret will enjoy this one, because I've said it many a time in the chamber, is about sweating the asset, and
Yeah.
what this shows is that we really have sweat those assets over the last couple of years. You know, a 10% increase last year on the car park. I was really pleased to see almost a third increase on the toilet income last year. And I think actually, had it not been for some of the downtime that we had at, say, Watergate Bay toilets last year, I think that would have been well over a third probably. So yeah, really pleased to see that actually things are moving in the right direction with all these assets and making the most out of them. Though the clearly the kind of the energy stuff is really interesting to look at. But clearly there's an opportunity there still, isn't there, in terms of the renewables and bits and pieces that we talked about, particularly on this site with the library. So, but yeah, thank you, brilliant report, really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely second that.
Just for your
Wait.
information, one of the things that I was talking about Will is to get all our meter readings in such a way that you can profile the usage over the year, and if it goes above or below a certain, that you're actually notified, so we can be more proactive about what's going on, rather than me looking at it historically from the year behind and go, what happened then? You know, I think we need to be a lot more involved with what's going on, and we're going to have the staff to do that. So I'm really keen to make sure that you as members at least see the information so that you're aware of it.
Yeah, I think the water usage, it'll be interesting. I don't know if something else to be put on would be the changes increase of the cost, like of electricity and water, because as to, that going up in terms of proportion of that as well. So we actually get a base rate almost, would be quite good, wouldn't it? Okay, wonderful. So thank you. Do we need to vote on that? No, we don't think we do we? No, it's just for interest. Oh,
Sorry. Well, there was one thing I didn't mention, and it was the toilets. Toilets. I love the toilets. So really could see that the income's up 30%, though the actual cost of running the toilets over the last few years obviously has gone up quite dramatically, hasn't it? And so, it still only sits at about 10% income of, the income that we bring in is only about 10% of what it actually costs us to run the toilets. And I do wonder, I've got a bit of a desire to explore what else we can do with these toilets. And I do think that we should challenge ENF to be a bit braver with them over the autumn, winter, early spring, to try and reduce costs, and I'd be really keen to explore that. But I think the other thing, and also I note that Cornwall Council has now, fully announced that they're doing the whole headland thing. Pentar Headland, is that the right name? Yeah. And whether actually it makes sense for them to take on those toilets and us charge our services back to them if they're open to that, or just get rid of a cost in terms of those toilets. But doing some actual publicity around this is actually how much it costs to run these things, because people don't know. They assume that the shocking fee of 50p is still absolutely all it costs to run those things, and to know that we've increased the revenue by 30%, but still that's only less than 10% of what it's actually costing us to run the things. I think people would have a different opinion on. Sorry, Anne.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you remember, but about 12 months ago now, hopefully about 12 months ago, before we go into our budget setting process, we put footfall counters in the free toilets as well.
Yes.
So I'm hoping before budgets as part of ENF, you'll have an actual usage as close as I can get for you to actually consider as well, because that will give you an insight. If one of the 3 ones was particularly highly used, you may say, right, that's one I want to focus on to help balance the books or whatever. So hopefully you'll have that information.
Brilliant.
I suppose I was just going to say one thing. I suppose it will be at E&F that, you know, should we be looking at Porth and all of those and charging? Why don't we charge? To be honest.
I suppose.
Look at Town Beach. I go there swimming daily. There are no toilets there. There are no toilets provided by the chap who leases it. He did have Portaloos last year, the year before. He doesn't have them this year. So it's just our ratepayers or council taxpayers probably don't use a lot of these toilets. So they're sort of facilitating and paying for the visitors, which, you know, probably 80% of our residents don't have anything to do with hospitality. So I think it is something we need to consider, to be honest.
I think as well, I mean, I think a lot of those sites were considered to be areas where local residents used more. But then what we could do is then make them free in the wintertime. When you do have local people, you know, going dog walking things on Porth Beach, or down at Trelance at the boating lakes. So very much up for discussion in E&F, I think. Yeah.
Look at the skate park. The skate park is free to use, but we're also providing the toilets as well, you know, free of charge.
Which there was a horrendous water bill that came in for the skate park, wasn't there, a couple of months ago? Like over £2,000, and that was going to be looked into, I think, because that seemed quite anomalous in terms of.
I thought George had responded, definitely.
I thought he responded to me in terms of we're going to look into it. I haven't been beyond that. Yeah, thank you. Right, any other comments on those? Any other notions? No?
Great report.
Okay, yes, brilliant, well done, thank you. And we didn't need to vote on that, do we? Did we? Yeah, we're on to the insurance one. We didn't decide we needed to vote, right. Insurance reinstatement, we just need, I don't know if you want to say anything about this, Anne, we just need to get a vote of approval for this, for insurance valuations and things.
Yes, please. This is just to make sure our insurance when we go out is up to date in terms of rebuild costs, statement valuations.
I think it's very important that you continue to work, because if this building got burnt down, it's not the value of the property, it's the rebuild cost, which are two very different things. So, and you always need to keep updating with that with increments. So, I'm happy to propose that it goes ahead and gets done. The revaluation. Seconder for that. Councillor North's going to second. Favour? Yep. Wonderful. Thank you. Annual investment report, and I don't know if you want to say anything, but I mean, our money's doing much better than it was beforehand with the investment portfolio and I think you were looking to the applicability for putting more monies in for that.
Yeah, just so that I could, with the chief exec, look at what our levels are and invest in the same CCLA just to get a higher return on our money.
Yeah. Because at the moment we're getting over 50. Am I allowed to say that? I'm not sure. Maybe not. No, it doesn't matter. Okay.
Money?
Yeah. So we're getting over 50,000 interest a month at the moment. It's coming in.
A year.
No, per month. A year. Okay. I thought it was more than that.
I might want to just repeat that for Warren so that he doesn't put a headline out there.
Okay.
Just repeat.
Okay. Yes, it's 50,000 a year. Sorry. Wrong time scales. Sorry. Yes, Councillor Creek.
So, CCLA, do we know if they have any, and I suspect that this is a rather complicated question I know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and I know what what I'm going to ask, and the likelihood is that we're not going to be able to do anything about it because of the complicated nature of international investments. But do we know if the CCLA support any anything in regards to Israel?
I think I've seen an email, and they have done a webinar on it, in what they do and don't do. And I think they are very, very careful in their investments. So I will see if I can find that and circulate it to you if you are interested.
Very interested. Would be keen for it not to be in arms.
Yeah, I don't
In
think
regard
it
to
is.
Israel.
It's not arms. No, it's one of the things because I mean
think
the,
if
one
you
of the
looked at
C's
it-
is the church, and it's I looked at this for when I asked about investment in money and oil, and they've pulled out from oil, so they haven't they're not investing in arms and things. That's been very critical in the past in the 90s with arms in the church. So.
you.
No.
And then the other question was, what's the rate going forward, and what are you proposing to invest on top of what we've already got in there, which is 1.2?
Yeah, so at the moment you're getting around, because obviously it fluctuates, it's a variable rate. We're getting between 4 and 5% essentially on our CCLA. But if you look at our Unity accounts and how much we've actually got in there at the moment, there's nearly £3 million, sometimes more than that, and that doesn't, it's instant access. The CCLA, the deposit fund that we have, is instant access. So if something really happened that we wanted to withdraw some money, you could, but obviously it's a better interest rate than with Unity. I had a call with them a couple of weeks ago to see what they can offer as well. And I'm going to come back in February with a full update of various different options so that you've reviewed. But the Unity couldn't get anywhere close to what the CCLA could do on an instant access. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be a time where you want to invest for a much longer period, say 3 or 4 years, and get a much higher rate of interest. But when you look at the periods and the terms and the interest rates at the moment, there's not a huge amount in them. So I tend to keep it safe, and so that you can get your hands on it if you need it.
And the second part of the question is, so what, how much or what percentage of what's in the Unity account are you proposing to put into the CCLA account? Or are you looking for flexibility to go as high as you can?
What I would like to do, again, post staff review, is to, I created a cash flow statement. I'd like to use it so that I would only keep maybe 30, 40 grand, which I would need in a working basis from a cash flow statement, and have as much as I possibly can, but it be done on a 2-week monthly basis, however flexible we need to be, so that you're maximising every penny you possibly can. That's where I'd want to get to. So that's what this
Fully
will enable me
supportive of
to.
that. Thank you, Anne.
We don't need to vote on that. Oh, yes, no, yes, sorry. Yes, it's a recommendation for managing the money and things. So I'm happy to propose that. Seconder, Councillor Creek. All those in favour? Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Where have we got to? Yeah. Yes, so the twinning EMR release. So I think it's been done. So we're just voting to release the money for the twinning that we're revitalising with DINAR and everything. So I'm happy to propose that. Unless, Anne, you want to say anything else on that?
I was just going to say this was agreed at the last meeting, but because of
Yeah.
year end, I had to put it into an EMR so that you didn't lose it for it to come out.
Yeah.
But I can't release it from an EMR without your approval, so it needs
Yeah.
to go through you and then to full council.
So I propose, I think Councillor Creek got his, for seconding, all in favour? Yep, brilliant, thank you. Thank you, Anne, I think that was great. Item 19, Nikki Taggart, the brand style guide. Sally's on maternity leave and pleased to say has successfully given birth to a baby girl called Lainey. And I think everyone's doing well on that front. So good well wishes to Sally. So we've had in our packs a a pack on the branding and the logos and everything and the colours that go with that. So we have the overall Newquay logo, and then we've got for the different departments and things, which is going to be a bit of work in progress because the departments are going to be sort of changing with the staff structure and everything that will go in that. So the different colours and things are going to be up to grabs. So do you want to add anything to that, Andy?
I think the key message here is that some of the logos at the moment wouldn't stand up to scrutiny in terms of equalities legislation. So the current designs that are proposed in this brand design guide should, or certainly go further. It's mostly around the colours. So if you look at the old logo, the new logos have Newquay Council and then the colour in a block with the writing inside the block, as opposed to the coloured letters. Sorry. So it's seen as that's much more compliant, and the numbers, the colours have been picked for a reason.
Yeah. Even though I wasn't sure about the IT and the grey, but they don't seem to have a problem with that. So, Councillor North.
Can you see page 2?
I love with the John Betjeman.
I love our brand. That's definitely John Betjeman on the surfboard. But I just think that's in your face.
Hang on, I
don't know who.
What's in your face exactly?
Arse.
The
I think
whole.
arse is the
Oh right, that.
Implants, I would say. Yeah, but you want to see
For
it
the
in colour.
camera.
You need to see it in colour.
Maybe
This is
someone
it.
actually on a wave rather than padding out.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed.
I hadn't focused on that.
I've got too much time on my hands.
Yeah.
I
Oh gosh.
looked at that and I thought, dear
I lost
God.
the committee to a photograph of the rear of a surfer. Well, I don't know.
And a male as well.
Do you want to propose anything to do with that?
Well, that
What's
just
it?
means
I never
changing.
approved that photograph.
Gosh.
All I would do is I would refer you to page 30. I think that's probably more in keeping with the designs that we would go with. Yeah.
Just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say, it's the most thorough brand guideline I think I've ever seen.
It is
And
very
I've dealt with a
comprehensive.
few over the years. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
It's very comprehensive, isn't it? And thorough. I like the bits which were the no's. No, you can't have this. And it's just the bits of wonkiness and everything. So I'm happy to propose support for what's been going on here and with the branding and everything. So recommend this, and
See, I love that one.
sorry, say that again, Andy.
So the recommendations are
It'd be good, the murals.
formally adopts the brand style guidelines and that the remaining budget of
That's-
£630
And
is used for the changes once we know post that review if any department
Yes.
makes a change.
Thank you. I had jotted that down. It's not quite as comprehensive as that. So I'm happy to propose that. Seconder, Councillor Slade second. All in favour? Yay! Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. And we're done 2021, 22 music licence fees. Anne, do you want to say something on that, and then I'll have a or not? No, she says there's the first time.
It's fine, it's fine.
Okay, no. Well, I came up with something on this that I thought. Hopefully you've read what's been said. That when it came to public businesses, that when there's a booking, normally when we do an event, you have a booking and it says on the form whether you need electricity and amounts put on for that. I think it was like if you're going to be broadcasting music, then the amount will be calculated and added on top of that as a fee. So you have your basic rental fee, then you have your electric, and then you have the music as well, and that the costing of it is passed on, because in some events, when you look at it, like for the food festival, it was like £300 odd, which is quite a bit of money for us to absorb. So personally, that's my thinking of that. But I'm happy if you want to say something else about that, Anne, or if anyone else got some comments.
No, all I was going to say is it's something I've highlighted in the case that it's costing us a lot of money now that
Yeah.
they do it per event and we have to report it. And I just felt that you ought to be aware so that you can decide how you wish to proceed. Whether you think there's a difference between the Mount Wise Centre and the Killer Court, you know, that's completely up to you. But I thought I should bring it to your attention to see if you have a view.
I mean, for me, it goes on any form. If it's a a charity event, then I think personally, this is my personal view, then it could be more likely to be absorbed. But if it's a business commercial venture, whether it's at Mount Wise or on the Killer Court, then it's a tick box thing and it's calculated accordingly. If it's up at Mount Wise, obviously it's going to be a much smaller amount than the Killer Court, but. So I don't know if anybody's got any views on this.
Can I just
Oh, yeah.
clarify, when you say charity event, do you want to include your community groups as well
Yes,
within that? So
yes.
it's not just registered charities, but a community group.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I must admit, I did look at the agenda earlier, but I didn't get quite as far as the music licence fee. So I'm only looking at this now very quickly for the first time. So is it that we're suggesting that every time we have an event on the Killer Court, I think that's what you just said, this is what we're being charged for music licence? And so the food festival, which was over
4 days.
4 days, was £38 times 3 was the cost. Is that right? Or is it?
The total cost. Yeah.
So it cost us £402. Okay, and so another one, the big market costs us £326.80 every time we have a big market on there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That is news to me. So, and that's because they're playing music.
Yes.
Did you know that, Councillor North?
In truth, that's not us. That's not really our responsibility as volunteers. That would be the officers who were in charge of those assets to know those sort of things. Not for us to know.
So just throwing it in there as well. I don't know if did you check that because the Newquay Food Festival came to us for a grant, didn't they? And we said we couldn't support that grant because they're a business, but at the committee then we were going to waiver the fee, which
50% of the
50. Right, okay. But of course that, we're not knowing about the music thing, of course, we have still paid for their coverage for the music licence. So I think for moving forward in the future, that was my suggestion, that it's a tick box thing and then it is passed on for commercial.
And I think it's all passed on. We don't do any of this 50-50. I mean, I know I'm not on C&T. I don't know anything about the food festival and getting 50% off, but there was an enormous amount of businesses there making money. And again, we've got our residents, propping these businesses up. We're not doing it with WH Smith's, we're not doing it with Whistlefish, we're not doing it with all the businesses in town. So I think we've got to say they've got a massive space there. I don't even know what the costs are anymore of hiring the space. They are a business, and if it was Cornwall Council, if they were doing it on the Barrowfields, they wouldn't get any 50% off. So I think I suppose because the Killer Court comes across C&T and this committee, not this committee, INF, that's where we lag behind, because I can't go to every committee meeting, and C&T make decisions that I don't really, not that I have to know every decision, but I just think, like you say, Councillor Creek, rinse or sweat the assets. We're not sweating the assets here, are we, if we keep supporting events? And people might say the food festival is amazing, the big market is amazing, but there are people there making money. And I would say we just go and they pay for all the music and they pay for the hire as well, fully.
Creek?
Yeah, so two things, and I suppose this is my ignorance on the matter. I just assumed it was a one-off licence fee that we paid every year, regardless of what we did. So this is really interesting, and I suppose a little bit frustrating that we didn't know some of this stuff when we made decisions around the Killer Court, particularly about the market and bits and pieces. Because had I known that actually by saying to bid, yeah, you can have the Killer Court for your market for free, that's going to cost taxpayers of Newquay £326.80 every time, then clearly I wouldn't have made that decision. I don't believe. And so I think moving forward then it needs to be this is the cost, as Councillor Thompson said, this is the cost of the Killer Court. If you want music, this is the fee on top of that. So again, if the market wants to continue on the Killer Court and it wants music, then we're going to have to ask them to reimburse us for that. The other option is they don't have music and we can carry on the same arrangement. But yeah, absolutely, this needs to be factored in, because that blows out of the water anything that we charge for the Killer Court, really. In terms of the Mount Wise Centre, I think mostly it tends to be sort of community groups and bits and pieces that don't tend to have music. So less, but the Killer Court, my goodness, that's well, on that page alone, that's 1,1600 quid worth of cost that none of us had anticipated. So I'm genuinely surprised about that. And I'm not looking to blame anyone, but did we know about that more generally as officers? Or
so I reckon it was about 18 months, maybe 2 years ago, I picked up the PRS licence, because I'd done them in the past, and went, hang on a minute, we're not reporting all of our events and things. So I asked Levi to get a list from all the bookings and stuff, and they charged us the first time. Then again, because it's done in arrears, a year in arrears, and then this time round we've got it again, and I've gone, look, this is ridiculous, we should be recharging this, or at least committee need to have decided what we're doing with these fees. So I asked them to look at all these events and this is why it's come to you now, because it needs, but there are lots of little things like this that are going unseen, and I really need to get my hands involved with everything and bring it to you so that you're making decisions, and that this is just one of the things that I've picked up.
So, I'm quite happy to propose then that it goes on a booking form, and then you'd obviously create an account where you'd accrue this money, and then it's declared at the end of the year, and we need to think of then a budget then for making up if there is a community aspect which we then cover. So I'm happy to propose that. Seconder for Councillor North. All in favour?
Could someone have that conversation with Mark then? Conscious he's got a market on Saturday.
Well, do we need to discuss a time frame for this going forward then? I mean, because it's going to be unfair on Mark really just to spring this on him if he's got something this weekend. So when would you envisage?
So normally if you do change any terms and conditions, you normally give people 30 days notice of your
Right.
intention. So what I would do is I will speak to the people, because some of these, there are future ones that are coming up, and let them know that we've changed our terms and conditions and that they have the opportunity to either continue with the booking or not.
Yeah.
But I would suggest a 30-day period.
Lead-in period. Okay.
In fairness.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you. Brilliant, thank you, that's great. Item 23, we've done 24, identify appropriate projects for SIL funding. We've got this needs approving before going back to Cornwall Council. So I presume we've looked at this too. We've got available funds. So the digital notice board on this, we probably won't need, because we're going to get those notice boards through across town, so we don't need to double up on that. That's right. I don't know what's the official name for those boards that are coming up through town.
I think they're through Pulse.
Pulse, that's
Yeah.
right, the Pulse boards that are going to be dotted around the place. And then we've got the Mountwise Play Area project and South Fistral Car Park. Now, the amount of money we put in for repairing equipment for South Fistral Car Park bore very little resemblance to the quote that was, I think, at C&T for a piece of play equipment which was deemed unsafe, which I think, was it E&F? Was it 16,000, I think it was. So I don't know if we want to get rid of the digital notice board and then up that amount for South Fistral Car Park. Councillor Creek.
You'll remind me, Councillor North, when we were at ENF, we talked about this, and I think what we said was that we're obviously building the new play park this year. I think what we said was South Fistral Play Park could wait until after the end of this financial year, and then into next financial year we would do a whole refurb of a number of pieces of equipment, I think is what we agreed at ENF.
Sorry, at the moment you've got just under £9,000 that isn't, if it isn't spent by the end of March, this coming March, then you will have to return it. So the 2,000 was a previous piece of equipment that was agreed to come out of SIL, not the one that's recently gone. And it was one in the end that didn't happen. We were able to mend it. So it's whether you want to increase this to cover the one that recently went through, which was just under 7, I think. 6 something, wasn't it?
Was it 6? So I thought it was 16. I don't know.
Oh,
I think,
unless that's a different one.
I think 16 was the one to replace the slide, the child's slide thing, wasn't it? So the 9,000, just under 9,000 there that we got to spend by it, that presumably we'll get that spent in the Mountwise Play Park project anyway, plus 2023, plus most of 23, 24.
It has to be spent by the end of March.
Yeah, what, so, yeah, yes, yes.
I think it'll take longer.
Legal fees alone.
Okay, you're using it for that, not the equipment. That's not what was agreed. It was for play equipment. Okay.
It will be spent.
Cool.
Okay, so taking aside that we'll be spending £9,000 by the end of March on the development of the play park and things, what are we going to do with the notice board and the South Fistral car park money then? Are we taking those out?
We don't need to do anything because it's £9,000 that we'll lose. The rest will just go back into the overall number. So we don't need to do anything about it.
I don't know, that's what I'm sort of asking.
It's just whether you want to take them off your committed projects. If they're not going to happen.
Take them off, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so fine with this going ahead then, and they're taking off the digital notice board in the South Fistral car park. So just putting forward then for the play area project, Mountwise.
Great.
And so this for a year? Do you do this annually?
Yeah, this is done annually. Those will stay on because this is the point at the end of March. So next year when it goes through, it will be at that point.
Oh, okay, right,
But
okay.
I will release them now. You've agreed that, and
Yeah.
they will go back into the general pot.
Okay.
One other question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can see what we have in the SIL in terms of what's left from the years 21 to 25. What did we get in SIL last year, and what we're anticipating this year?
So we got 83,000, just over 83,000
Last
last year. I have no idea. They send us the emails within days of us getting the money. I've got no way of, that I'm aware of knowing how much I get.
So what did we get the year before the 83?
55.
Oh, it was that 55. So we've not spent anything from the last 2 years with the SIL. Okay, and then the year before, was it 30 or was it? Oh, right, so.
The expenditure sum this year is nothing.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I'll look forward to spending some of it then.
And I think that's worth noting, that some of the things that we talked about in a different GNR meeting is you can apply for additional SIL funding for projects, but at the moment they go, you've got too much, use your own. So it's worth using on projects you want to do, and then you can apply for more.
I think that just goes to the conversation that we had at ENF about preparing for an update of the South Fistral Play Park moving into next financial year. So that will be the 2 play parks, and that will clear most of that SIL money, I should imagine. And then we can start applying to the rest.
Okay, so I'm happy to propose that. Seconder? Councillor Slade, all in favour? Yay. Brilliant, thank you. Item 25, achieve and maintain Goldward status. That's on hold until after the structure review. Correspondence, don't have any unless there was a stampede this afternoon since, no, brilliant. Public bodies, admission to meetings. So we have nobody on the list, and this is when we go confidential. So I need to vote to close everybody else that isn't privy to the meeting and to shut down broadcasting. So proposed seconder, Councillor Slade, all in favour? Yes, Councillor Carter? Yeah, that's it, right, brilliant. There we go.